Hail to the Iron Seas! You are muted, Kahuna! Hail! It's Tuesday!
Sorry, that was my best Godzilla.
So Kahuna was late. He told us to postpone for a little bit, and I was like,
I didn't
gotcha,
mean
buddy.
to take us on a weird journey to... What the hell was that?
Don't be Rama.
Don't sniff no petrol.
Put it in
Don't
your
sniff
car,
no
buddy.
petrol.
It goes in your car, not up your nose.
It makes your car go. Yeah. No, I got
It's
it.
your cargo.
Yeah.
Dude,
all right. Well,
that was such a weird thing to like just sign in. I'm like, wait, did I click the wrong button?
I know.
Really? That was your take? Not, this is the right stream. These are my guys.
I should have known something was up when Joe was like, "I got you." I'm like, in my head, I'm like, "Oh, cool. They'll just play the longer one." And then I come in, I'm like, "Mother,
Battsism?
son of what?"
But wait, there's more. We got
There's
even
more?
more goodness. Yeah, we got another
Let's
banger.
say, I think we should save that to the end. Actually, I was
Oh
really
yeah,
thinking
I'm teasing. I'm not saying right this second. I'm just saying
we got a
banger on deck.
surprise.
Let's acknowledge a chat real quick. We got the lovely Seabats, a Bill Armstrong, couple of other people. Where to go? Readout Productions. Hell yeah, brother.
Hey.
And a couple of sexy double dippers. Anyway.
Oh my.
Okay. I cannot read the topics, and our topic freaking
You want me
thing
to read it?
It's really confusing. Yeah, so well, first off, we're going to be talking about Godzilla, the OG that won the poll this week. Kind of crushed the competition. No big surprise since the King of Monsters. But besides that, we have a few other topics we're going to talk about. Kahuna's going to cover that. Along with, we're going to do a little something different. We're going to cover a few highlighted comments from some of our previous videos on the Iron Seas, but only highlighted ones. So you have to say something cool for us to highlight it. You can't just give us weak sauce comments. So, Kahuna, what are our topics for this evening?
How to develop a style, or what makes a good style? What makes a good party? I assume he means as in like a D&D or fantasy.
Wait, that's not the right. That's not on the thumbnail.
It's not on the thumbnail, but you guys don't put the things in the discussion.
No,
this is going to become a running theme.
Jesus Christ!
You guys can't have one. You can't say like, "Hey, we have a discussion topics channel. Put all these discussion topics, and then none of them are on the picture."
I mean, sometimes you guys say some nonsensical stuff, and I'm just gonna ignore it. I don't want to get in this discussion right now.
Oh yeah. Joe knows all about saying
right.
nonsense. Yeah.
No, I got it right here. The actual topics for tonight's video is gonna be size, scale, and distance. So we're gonna talk about scaling and how that works in storytelling. Not just in the sense of big monsters, but
I think the people would prefer a demonstration. No.
I was like, what's he doing? Oh, that's what he's doing.
Is that a light switch?
Yeah.
What is it?
Hey, viewership was just went up. All right.
Hey.
We'll also
Hello,
talk about
ladies.
slow burn and suspense. We're just going to talk about whether slow burns are worth it or not.
Slow burn. We know what Justin thinks already. Holy smith! I don't think there's anything in the world he hates more in entertainment than a slow burn.
And guys, let me just ask the chat real quick. Please tell us if one of our audio for one of us is too low or too high. Not looking at Kahuna here.
No, we're not looking at anyone.
Oh God! Don't stop. It hurts. It hurts our viewers.
They want to feel what it's like to be in my mouth. Wait, never mind.
The last topic is the consequences of your actions or the plot. The unintended consequences.
Like the action, putting your mic down your throat. Consequence. We don't know. Maybe higher viewership.
Ooh.
Either way.
That's just like I've been practicing for years.
Emily, it's been so long since we've heard from you. We haven't had like 6 shows this week. How have you been?
Has it been like that? Really? It's been good. I didn't realize it. All time is a day. One day is all of time of the past several years folded into a single point. It's like that movie with that all right guy where he goes to space and all that. It's like that. So I'm working on some music. I got some tracks in the works, but it's been a pretty good week. Been productive. I'm tired, Bats. I'm a little tired. I had to make sure I told you that because I know you love to hear it.
Yeah, no, we had Monday last week. We did the Borderlands, Ghost of Ghost of the Badlands. Then we did Iron Seas, and then Friday we did the Iron Age Knights. You know, we pirated
It's been a busy week for us. Yeah.
yeah.
Wow, I didn't realize that was this week. I thought that was a few months ago. And we got Yumi coming up too, boys. We got Yumi coming up.
I know. I'm excited to talk about that.
Some people just have nightmares. Some people paint them.
Yeah.
Some people write them, right?
Bob Ross, that thing. It's a happy little nightmare. Happy little
sometimes
nightmare.
I have a daymare. Occasionally.
Daymare.
And I'm not
That's
talking
such
about
a,
a
we need a different name. That's such a bad name. Anyway.
Kahuna, how's your week been?
Right?
Not bad, man. Just like breathing in horse crap and like asbestos on this job. But, you know,
You
as
have
is life.
you have daymares too.
No,
Mares,
I am.
literal
I am.
mares.
Oh, dear.
Mares, yeah.
AC, take it back. Commit seppuku. Whatever you need to do. Oh, and he's gone.
Oh, wait, no, don't. AC, stop. Don't do it. Don't listen to Kahuna.
Yeah, you're also
wait,
up next
wait,
to tell us how
Andy-
your week's been, man.
It's been good, man. Been really busy with kids. I've been working on a really big manga project I've had in the works for a while. And then in the works, it means that I've wanted to start it, but I haven't had it more than one day off with like no one distracting me in a long, long time. I finally had that. And so I'm like, all right, let me get every volume one I have. And I have 21 that I own physically. And so I've been reading through all of those. I'm giving ratings and yeah, it's a lot, man. It's a lot. Sent you guys that little spicy picture from Parasite earlier. I'm sure Bats was excited by that one. Oh, you missed it.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's
super excited
what
about
I've been
that.
doing creatively, and then work is good, kids are good, and yeah. AC, what about you, man?
It's been an iron week. That's all I gotta say. And
Tremendous.
this Thursday at the Pritchard Pub, we are having Mr. Good Stuff. Just Good Stuff, not Mr. Good Stuff, but just being respectful. Good Stuff is going to be our guest. He's doing a cooking book, a recipe book, and has lots of ideas with that. So that will be exciting. The guy is quite based and funny. Other than that, extended my graphic novel campaign and just been doing stuff like that. I appeared on the Red Valkyrie stream. That was fun.
Yeah, that was
Got
cool.
some cosplay.
Couple of cool people there. Yep, got some cosplay. I can show that to.
I've never
to the show
seen that,
later,
but
too.
like that's so cool because like I love your book, but it's like I thought people had to be like at a big convention like with a whole bunch of people there, but to get that kind of treatment, that's pretty cool.
Same. It was a surprise. I was like, oh, awesome.
Yeah, you don't-
I was running a little late too, and she was like, I was going to be so pissed if you canceled because
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, can't be there, my bad.
apparently a bunch of people have canceled recently. So
Yeah.
it's just like that kind of thing.
You know, Bill, you may be right. I think Justin in that hand. I don't think that hand is him anymore. I used to think so. Now I think it's more like a Chucky kind of entity, just coming in to flip people off and give the thumbs up every now and again.
Yeah.
Evil hand from
Adam's
Evil Dead.
Family.
I mean that
Oh, that's
cosplay
good.
thing
Yeah.
makes canceling super difficult. But you know, just as long as people actually cancel and don't no show, you know, that's
No shows
Yeah.
are way worse than just
Yeah.
canceling. Yeah.
They said they had to shut down the stream live before too. They were just like, "Oh, this person is a literal shill. I have to, in good conscience, I have to stop the stream because they're peddling right now." You know what I mean? There was a couple of those, but I digress. That's like their lore. So I mean, it's interesting though talking to them. But
That's
Yeah.
fair, man. I love finding out lore of channels that you hop on. Just like, oh yeah, that woman, like the camera turned sideways and we heard some weird gurgling noises and she never showed up again. I'm like, wait, what do you mean?
right,
Like,
Yeah.
that's not normal, man.
So
What about you, Joe?
Well, so okay. First off, StreamYard just upped their prices to $50 a month. So
50.
probably be going with somebody who's cheaper because all I really pay for is just to have a freaking background because I don't want the background to be black. You could still
Alright.
put,
We need to start a kick fund. Go buy me and do a poster print for you, and it's the short bus in the background.
yeah.
That's what we need.
No, I mean the clips is part of the free thing. Like everything that we use besides having a freaking background is part of the free edition, which really is annoying because I don't like. What am I paying for?
My only thing is I don't know how to have a video chat like this and stream it at the same time. I can solo stream on OBS, no problem. But yeah.
No, I mean you could do that with a free StreamYard.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like you get the chat, you get all these things. Mostly people do it so they can stream to multiple platforms. We don't do that. We don't take care of that.
Tree fitty.
Yeah, but yeah, $25 was already ridiculous. And I was like, yeah, whatever, I'll suck it up because like I'm assuming the background helps, retain people. I don't know. I know people.
I mean, it's either that or just have an interesting background behind you already. I don't know.
They come for the background and stay for the background.
Yeah, but no, I cut the hair helmet, so my head is, especially in my special needs, is less safe right now.
You cut your hair? It looks the same. It looks exactly identical. Like
it
strand
looks
for
really,
strand, exactly the same.
It looks really different when you see it in person.
Is it shaved in the back from like here down? It's just like cleaved.
Justin, don't give him too much crap. He looks like he's about to break out and start singing "Baby" any second now. I've been waiting.
He got the word. He got the words "helmet this" with an arrow pointing down in the back.
No, but I was trying to get a video out by tomorrow. Another one of my famous bad faith reviews that is not going to happen.
You smear merchant.
I mean, I can still maybe get out by tomorrow, but I can't do a stream and then release it like I wanted to. But yeah, I do recommend you check out my last bad faith review. It's doing pretty good. I think it's good. Yeah, but
a lot of people EFAPing all over it apparently.
Yeah, it's so good. People want to EFAP the crap out of it. Yeah.
Battsauce's bad faith reviews. It almost has a ring to it.
Yeah. I'm gonna start subtitling them that like
I said illiterate instead of illiterate.
But besides that, I have some little bitch up in this corner of the stream right now, the top right corner that's trying to
That's a boy dog.
Sub me right now. He's like, dude, I'm gonna get to 300 before you little bitch. And I'm like, you're not fucking doing that. So right now, I need people to get on the Twitters because that's how we do it. Share my channel out and say we need to get this guy to 300 because he deserves it.
Guys, this little boy is dying. Look at him. He needs subscribers now.
A.C Pritchard's a little girl, and he's not gonna get to 300 before Battsauce. So I'm pretty pissed that AC came out and said that against me, but it is what it is. I believe in our people. I believe in our viewers. We are strong, and we will get me to 300 before the Pritchard Pub. Yeah.
I mean, why would you even brag when you have less than 500? I mean, what's even the point?
At the Pritchard Pub, we accept all kinds. Our doors are open. If you want to come and go,
I've seen your chat, AC. You might be right.
It's wide open, right?
Yeah. Wide open.
They're not Rama over there.
Nothing beats top grade chat. Nothing.
All right. Well, we have a movie to talk about. Kahuna, do you want to intro us into this movie?
In 1954, the Japanese finally made something worthwhile. Godzilla.
All right, yes, this week's movie is Godzilla, the OG, black and white, the king of monsters, a classic movie. Emily, give us our rundown.
First of all, I got to give that's for that improv ability right there is pretty incredible. Yes, you imitate a computerized affected cello very well. I had to look up the noise. All right.
It was a bass. Yeah.
Oh, is that what it was? Stand up.
Yeah.
All right. So the rundown for 1954. This is the OG Godzilla. Because when you said Godzilla, you didn't put a year, and I wasn't sure where we were heading. So the rundown.
So many Godzillas.
I know. There's like 4 of them at least. When 17 vessels explode and sink near Odo Island, Professor Kyohei Yamane and his daughter Emiko and the Marine Hideto Agata head to the island to investigate. Soon they witness a giant monster called Godzilla by the locals, destroying the spot. Meanwhile, Emiko, she meets her boyfriend, the secluded scientist Serizawa, and she promised to keep a secret. He makes her, somebody else in a different language wrote this, I think, it's AI, to keep a secret about his research with oxygen. She agrees to put your drink down mid-sentence.
Do you need help?
Yeah, it's hard
He
to
agrees
understand
and
you.
discloses the lethal weapon, the oxygen destroyer that he has developed. When Godzilla threatens Tokyo and other Japanese cities, and the Army and the Navy are incapable to stop the monster. Sorry.
Why?
There's meta jokes here. You told me to do a summary. It's too long and it's falling apart, and we're just rolling. I mean,
It's beautiful.
To her lover Ogata. Now they have to convince Serizawa to use the oxygen destroyer to kill Godzilla. All right, we did summary. We're going a little bit longer with those. It's all right. The budget here, $450,000, and this earned a cool $6.5 million. This was directed by Ishiro Honda, and it's starring Takashi Shimura, Akihiko Hirata, and Akira Takarada. The runtime is an hour and 36, and the reviews 79 on Metacritic, IMDb 7.5, and Amazon a 4.7. Gentlemen,
All right.
Not bad, man. And that's a nice little breakdown. I really like the way you do it, Justin. Love you, man.
thank you. I practiced for many hours. I was ready and I'm prepared.
I have a couple of factoids because I did more research than usual. I'm a huge Godzilla fan. I watched all the old ones when I was younger, like on repeat. I mean, one of the channels just showed them constantly, Godzilla marathons. But I just found out some new things that I had no idea. And I'll get into one later. But Godzilla, can you guess? Is Godzilla, like, how original do you think Godzilla is?
What do you mean original?
Just take a guess.
It's Japan. I assume they plagiarized it, like they do everything else.
You mean like what year was he invented?
No, I'm just... Okay, like, what I'm saying is he's not original. He was based off of an American monster. That's
What?
right, we did it first. The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms. What does this look like?
That also looks like
I don't see the resemblance, frankly.
And he was woken
Monster
up.
lizard.
He's a monster, a prehistoric monster that was woken up from the ice from a nuclear explosion.
That made him large. That's so strange.
I think this one was already large, but yeah. So interesting little factoid there. I had no idea that he was based off of this thing that looks exactly like him.
Actually, ironically, the version of Godzilla before he gets bigger in -1 looks a lot like this.
Oh yeah.
Like almost exactly.
Well, I think they acknowledge it, but apparently the creator of that was super butthurt about that little fact. He's like plagiarized.
Well, yeah, no, like Japan, China, they steal everything, man. They always have historically. It's a fact. Like they have a monument. They have one of the 4 surviving pillars from the city of Pompeii and their holy temple left in the world, and they have one of them for some reason with like fascist symbols on it.
Oh, no.
Man. Well, hey, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. You know what I mean?
If you ain't cheating, you ain't China. Anyway, so we're going on. Basic impressions. Justin, had you seen this movie before?
No, I certainly hadn't. I'd probably seen parts of some of the Godzillas growing up at like a Christmas or Thanksgiving TBS fest whenever they would have on Star Wars or Indiana Jones or 007 or Godzilla.
The
And you
Sci-Fi
catch-
Channel.
I don't know if it's even Sci-Fi, wasn't it? Is that where it was? Did Peapod, did you throw on Sci-Fi? Is that what happened? And you catch bits and pieces of these movies, but I didn't know which one was which. So I saw parts of them, but to sit down and watch a Godzilla movie and the original from start to finish, I had never done it. This is the first time for me.
Oh, sweet. Joe, what about it? Like you said, you'd seen all of them like on repeat since you were a kid, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, had you ever seen this one all the way through? It's pretty.
Honestly,
it's the
I'm
oldest.
not sure because this movie was also the one that was least like replayed. So it is like my memory's already still fuzzy on some of them. Like I got like some really fuzzy memories of like the son of Godzilla, which looked horrendous.
Oh
yeah. Yeah. And
Just
then like
reminded
the Mothra song, like people
Oh,
I tell
I
people
remember
about
that,
that. They have
yeah.
no idea that there's this song that's played in a serious Godzilla movie with these 2 tiny Asian twins that just to summon Mothra there.
Was that with Was that with Mecha Godzilla, or am I misremembering? It's been so long since I've seen those movies.
It might have been Kingdra. I think it was might be twice. I think it was with Kingdra, the 3-headed one.
Ghidorah?
Yeah, they had to summon Mothra to assist Godzilla. I'm going to pull that up now, though.
AC, son. Man with the wonderful facial hair. Had you seen this movie before?
No.
Oh.
And I was actually impressed with a lot of the practical effects and stuff. I thought it was very much going to be like this cheesy doll mannequin dude in a suit walking across the screen. And it was, if you're really looking for it, like, yeah, that's obviously it is.
It was more seamless than it should have been. It was really, really good. And
I agree.
Justin, I know many movies have done better, but this was like paving the road for most of those guys to succeed later. Shush. Anyway, Justin loves this movie. Yeah, no, there's a lot to love about this movie, but I'm gonna admit something, and Justin's gonna be so happy that I do. It does need to be a little bit faster. If you put it at like 1.25, 1.5 speed for most of it, probably a little bit better in this individual singular case. Sorry, I had to get that off my chest. I do like this movie, and I do like slow burn movies, but it is pretty. It lingers a long time, sometimes on shots that aren't really that good. Some of them are great, but others are like, okay, well, that's lovely. Okay, we can move on.
Over the camera today.
All right, so I'm not sure if this one's in the original one. I mean, I agree. Look, I agree. It's like there's definitely some, criticisms, I guess, because from looking at it from a modern perspective. It's a movie made in the 50s.
This movie came out 75 years ago.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But let me give you guys a little taste. I'm not sure if this is the original appearance of the song. Apparently, this is 1992. I don't know about that, but yeah, this is a little bit taste of the.
I thought that was the song. I didn't realize it was you singing.
Holy crap! This is blasting me into the past.
Like they're mini.
This is not Rama Rama.
Oh, maybe. Oh, if we don't get copyright, I'm playing this for our new intro.
This is not from the 1954 movie.
No,
100% no.
No, it's too. There's too many colors.
Yeah.
Jeez.
What did she do to that poor building?
She
She took a nap. She took a nap. She's like, hey, I'm just hanging out.
Cocooned all over the place. Anyway.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not gonna risk the copyright this time around. We'll see.
No. Just like DBZ.
Your rendition was also beautiful.
Justin, you're a wizard with music, man. I think we could recreate a really quality Iron Seas version.
I'm sure we could, but hit up JVP. He's better at these things. I barely have time to do anything. He's just cranking out stuff, so he might be your man.
You guys have heard him. He's down for more projects. He's starving for creative work. Justin, obviously. But yeah, no. Well, I mean, we could get a couple things out of the way. Can we all kind of agree that it I do appreciate. Wow, good job. I do appreciate it, but it is obviously made in the 1950s, and the pacing is a lot different than modern day films.
Yeah.
Good job, buddy.
And that's something that
I love you. What do they say?
A toothbrush.
Right. Well, anyways, you were saying.
I was gonna say with it's hard with where I lost my train of thought.
Older films.
Yeah, well, look, there were so many challenges that this movie had to come over. Like sometimes, there's some really impressive things. Like any time that Godzilla was at all convincing is a huge achievement at that time. But there's also a lot of times where you're like, this is a rubber suit.
They see him and they're like,
There was fewer moments like that. And to your point, and to AC's earlier, the special effects, I didn't even notice them being a problem. And the movie, I felt like whenever it hit, it really hit, and whenever it didn't, it really didn't. There was parts like Kahuna said where it dragged, and when it dragged, I was just like, ugh, this is rough. And then it would hook you, and it would hook you, and you're going along for the ride. You're like, yo, you don't even realize you're watching a movie from the 1950s. And some of the special effects, whenever Godzilla's first coming into Tokyo and he's like taking down the power lines and things of that nature. I think
and the guns and the jumping back and forth. It looks great.
Yeah, like some of the guns, and even the guy in the suit. Like whenever it's not
the guns are real.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So when you had like the actual ships and the actual guns, of course they look good. They're real. But even with Godzilla, there were more scenes where it just looked totally, you were just fine. You're in the moment. Then there were scenes where you're like, that's a guy in a suit. I know I poked fun at it leading into it, and there was a couple scenes where you could see the crinkles in the suit, and there's a couple cuts, the googly eye cut, which just made the thumbnail one of the worst.
Yeah.
When obviously when Godzilla is
film,
obscured or
it's
it's
really
darker, it looks better.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, at night. Yeah, it was more things were obscured.
What comes to mind is when they first reveal him and he pops over the hillside.
Yeah.
Actually, I was expecting that to be like Barney or Teletubbies, and it was not. I was like,
well, it's an advanced technique. It's advanced technique. First of all, they're using a different frame rate for Godzilla than the other parts, and they have to cut out the mountain. You know, this is back on film where they had to scissor cut this stuff.
Crap together, dude.
It reminds me of there's a room or not a room, a move named after that called the Japanese Sunrise.
Yeah. So learning a lot of these techniques, shut up, Jesus Christ. Learning a lot of these techniques are difficult. But man, and this is a cheesy way to give a movie a point, but this movie is a history lesson in not only filmmaking, but Japan history, and I'm gonna get a little bit of that, right? But the suit, the rubber suit, the guy could only wear it for 3 minutes. He passed out multiple times. During filming, he sweat profusely every time, obviously, and they had to wash head to toe wash it out from the inside because it's it's sealed. I'm almost I feel like there was an easier way to do this, but it just was
poke a hole, let him breathe.
This guy was purely garlic and onions for weeks leading into the filming.
World War II wasn't, that far off. A lot of these people that, most of the people that worked on this
were probably in World War II.
They were involved. Or a lot of them had, family or personally were, damn near bombed by Nagasaki or Hiroshima. It's kind of insane. It's
them talking about the idea of nuclear threat and comparing it to Godzilla in 1954. It's a little harder than people talking about it right now.
Sure.
Here's the best fact. Here's the best fact that I just learned. Did you know that the main influence from this movie wasn't the first bomb? It wasn't the second bomb. It was the third time the U.S. nuked Japan. Did you know we nuked Japan a third time?
No.
Accidentally, during testing,
What?
I've heard about that.
Japan.
I got Google ready. Let's go.
Without an atomic bomb, so it wasn't an atomic bomb. It was a hydrogen bomb.
It's not a big deal, frankly.
That's why
I don't get why they're crying.
They were doing an oxygen destroyer in the movie.
And this is so cool, right? So yeah, and that was a big like I said, the main influence. And Godzilla is kind of talking about the history of Japan as a whole, because they have constant earthquakes. There was the firebombing in Tokyo. They have constant destruction all the time throughout their history.
Like Godzilla is combination of every bad thing that happens to them.
It is, and that's so they got the U.S. went to test the new nuke, and and it was bigger than they thought. It was a lot bigger than they thought.
Is that the one they set off underwater?
Yeah.
I've seen.
Yeah, and it killed the fish population. Just fucked them. The fallout hit one of the islands nearby, and that's why I said it hit them a third time. And it definitely affected their food source. For
Yeah,
a
like
while.
we're a fishing village.
Oh,
All
wait.
of the fish, if for 100 miles, are dead. So
Is there
Underrated.
footage of this bomb? I feel like I've seen the footage in the ocean. Where
There
it's
is
like,
footage. There is
Yeah,
footage.
it's insane.
And
many times. Yeah.
And one of the things that affected the most by the fallout, and which you very often see in almost every Godzilla movie, there was a little fishing boat called the Lucky Dragon that was caught
no.
in the nuclear fallout. And they have footage of the fishermen, like, you know, getting tested by doctors with their, like, radiation burns and stuff like that. And apparently you could, the boat, I think it's in Tokyo. Like, it's still there in a museum with, like, some other Godzilla stuff. So, yeah, that's why, like, it starts off with that. It's like, that boat was the, like, main influence, though. With that
Gee
fisherman.
Willikers, I wonder what inspired Godzilla, the movie.
So you can see
I don't
why
know. We can't
you
draw
can
any.
see why it's so frustrating when like Americans make like the 1999 Godzilla or like the new pink one, and they
Yeah.
just bastardize it all the time.
Well,
That's why
Yeah,
they
because
get
there's
so pissed.
so...
think about the last line of the movie, basically. If we don't stop nuclear testing, I'm sure another Godzilla
Yeah.
or big disaster will occur. you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the thing is they're like they have like I mean it's commentary on the war where it's like things kept getting worse. Like they were, you know, tearing shit up in China, and like it's kind of an acknowledgement of like, you know, they participated and encouraged evil acts of war, and they got the repercussions of evil acts of war in you know, it's in this nuclear monster, right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of this whole thing where it's just like, now that this monster is here, you know, nuclear bombs, it's going to keep, you know, they're impending doom forever on for years, you know. It is crazy. Yeah. So that's what I learned recently. I that was so interesting to learn that we nuked Japan a third time.
Yeah, I'd
Some
seen that
Timmy
footage
K.
before, but I didn't realize it was that event. I just thought it was like testing that happened prior to them doing whatever, and it was released in the future. Because I remember my grandpa used to always have, you know, History Channel on Volume 70, and it was usually like dog fights in World War II, but occasionally there'd be those ones.
Bikini Atoll, right?
I don't know. I know that is a name that was a nuke testing site, but I don't know if that's a specific one he's referring to that I've seen the footage of. It might be that it's pretty famous, and that footage is pretty well known because it was colorized, and the original testing footage is all black and white and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's crazy because like you just assume you're like, oh yeah, they got we nuked them twice. You know, they made Godzilla because of the two nukes, and it's like, well, actually, it was the third one. What third one?
Yeah.
Imagine being that fisherman, just like having a day. You're like, I don't want ships over there.
Bro,
What's that?
can you imagine that the water and the like giant plume? You're like,
I mean, I think at that point, I just stand up and like just open. I'm like arms wide open, Creed style. I'm taking it, man. I'm just like, I'm
yeah, you
going
take
into
a lot
this
of
with,
things, huh?
says the Marine.
That's
That's kind of gay.
I was a little late. I was late.
6 feet. It's so sorry.
But
But
yeah, go ahead.
No, you go.
Good, gay man. Anyway, so Serizawa
just makes you a beta cuck.
Serizawa is the doctor in this, and I think he has the there's a couple moral quandaries that the characters have to face. One of them is the Japanese government on like how much can we lie and get away with the public.
Yeah.
Like how much. Unfortunately, historically, there's some truth to that
Accurate.
with most governments, not just Japan. But the main moral quandary, I think, is with Serizawa. Is he's like, I have created something that should never have been created, and if I use it, or if people ever know that it exists, it could change change world warfare, change the way people live. It could cause mass disaster across global disaster levels
I
of
am
problems.
become death, destroyer of worlds.
Well,
And
I totally
it's kind of taken out of his hands at some point, but it's a really interesting quandary that he kind of finds himself in, and also other characters around him. What do you guys think about all that?
yeah, I think I did learn something about them trying. Apparently, they originally were going to film the scientist as like a bad guy, or not necessarily a bad guy, just more over the top with pressing it. But like, I guess he had he really respected scientists, so he's like, okay, I'm going to change his character a little bit, and that's why he gets that death at the end. Yeah, Jesse.
I thought this film did a really good job of balancing between, like, you have the professor who's sort of like this intermediary between both sides. You have the scientist who has the answer, but he's reluctant. Then you have the lovers that are involved that are kind of tied to everything ongoing. And then you go to the government, and their meetings are super boring and they're super sterile about it. There's barely animation in the acting. And I thought the acting, I don't understand Japanese, it was all subbed. But I thought the acting was pretty good in terms of the body language and just delivery of the lines, where the government officials just seem kind of like, oh, can we hide this from the people for a while? Let's put that news story out, and we'll reconvene that tomorrow. And it's like half their country's being destroyed, and they're like, how's things going? Another ship went down?
I mean, they don't have the internet. How are they going to know? How are they going to know?
Oh man,
Yeah,
the
that's so true.
and Japan trying to hide, Japanese government trying to hide secrets of what's going on. I wonder if they ever did that story again.
Yeah, I wonder if in every other Godzilla movie ever made on planet Earth, maybe.
Oh, like almost every anime too. I did want to say, just because I'm too late on the thought, but you mentioned like how the American Godzillas kind of like they're kind of a little bit disrespectful to the the art of, or whatever, how Godzilla was originally concepted. But I'm like, yeah, but Japan kind of did that to themselves. Like
they made some silly, weird, bad
just Monster of the
movies
Week
as well.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, like remember, you guys have all seen the gif of Godzilla like sliding on his tail, like doing.
Oh yeah,
yeah, I posted that one. I was like, what is
he tries to
this?
fly like this.
I mean, it's kind of cool. And DH did one too, where he's like flying through the air and he's breathing and he's going real fast through the sky. I'm like, wow, they got real creative with this character down the road.
Maybe it's because of how many times I've seen it, but I actually liked the atomic breath in this movie.
Yeah,
it's not it's not like a sci-fi laser
great.
beam. It's like, oh, it's causing like the metal to deteriorate. It's causing these things to catch on fire. And
it was like a breath.
Yeah, an actual breath.
A fire blast.
And because of the like low quality 1954's cameras and all that, the one scene where it's kind of not quite bird's eye view, but it's a high angle, and all the guys are scattering, and the fire breath comes down, and they're running. It was like it was intense because you felt like you're watching, I don't know, like CCTV or something, as opposed to a modern day camera where it's all high grade and it zooms in, some guy melts and turns into a skeleton. It was like you just felt like you're watching a camera. Just it was intense. It was more intense than I expected. That one specific shot with that fire breath you guys are talking about.
And also, it's like, I know Godzilla sometimes looks a little bit derpy in this film, a little bit, but he does look like a monster in this movie. He's not some majestic creature like they show in some other more modern takes of Godzilla.
When he's got shadows across him with the fire going and everything, the googly eyes actually catch the fire, and he actually looks like a terrifying creature, like in the darkness, with glowing eyes.
100%, yeah.
I think that was part of the googly eye thing, is they needed it to look a certain way, dark.
So part of it, they very specifically gave him ears to make him not be like completely lizard. That I guess is the defining feature to make him a monster, I guess. And then very specifically, they wanted his skin to look very scarred. So that was part of the design choice, and that's been true with most of the conceptions of Godzilla. He always looks like scarred, and that's like awesome detail.
It's funny because just talking about those details, like I said, last time I saw this, it was at my grandpa's house. His TV was like a 16-inch or whatever, mono speaker, 2 dials, like 5 channels, rabbit ears, all that. It had to be the right angle in the picture.
You have to hold the antenna to get the right picture.
Yeah, foil on that, everything. And watching it on a modern TV, I don't have like a 4K or anything, but it's 1080p, what have you. And just to have the full picture, which it was 4:3, which surprised me too. It wasn't widescreen, even though I was watching it on HBO. But it's restored image, so you have better clarity. You got modern TVs, modern sound instead of that mono sound, and it was way more easy to be engrossed in those scenes than it was watching on those old TVs. And so it was a different experience. And that speaks to something just like the quality of your system and setup. And I know people prefer theaters and things like that, but even at home,
100%. Yeah, no, there's a weird thing where they restore some of these older films to a higher, like, not quite HD quality, but with modern stuff, something about the older technology and the lack of focus combined with the modern technology, it creates a really interesting viewing experience because, yeah, I'm not sure. It's like this is how they wanted this to look back then, I think, but they just couldn't quite achieve it.
Yeah, I mean, the sound design specifically, it just they nailed it with the song, and it just was iconic ever since. And then every
time that song
roar
came on, every time,
dun, 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 dude, and like look, Godzilla -1, I will say, I don't know if this is controversial. It's better.
It's really good.
I mean, it has the advantage of coming out.
Yeah.
Of being a year old. Yeah.
But like it's shit without the original Prince, right? Like it's that the fucking music when that plays in Godzilla -1, it's
such
like
a
it
good
hits
theme
so well.
It
Yeah, part of
Godzilla's
what-
roar. It's just
part of
good.
what makes Godzilla -1 so appealing to everybody and why it's so well received is because how respectful and accurate it is to what it's trying to do. Like
I feel like -1 is kind of like a modern, almost like a revamp of like the original movie. It's like, what if we took a couple modern techniques and we kind of did a modern version of them of this exact same movie with a couple of changed details. It's
they're
very
also
similar.
They're also like the human story always tends to suck. What if we did it good for once?
What, you didn't like the 19 million meetings in Shin Godzilla?
I haven't seen Shin Godzilla actually,
Dude, it's I love -1.
Yeah.
I really I don't know if I like it better
really?
than Shin. Shin is really it's dark and creepy in a very different way than any other.
all right,
Godzilla
I'm gonna
film.
watch it.
For those wondering, it's directed by the guy who directed Evangelion. Now I hate that.
I was gonna
overrated
say, I'm out now.
piece of crap. But Shin Godzilla is a good version of his ideas being explored.
Side note: Evangelion's made for fucking dweebs who think that they're smarter than everyone else.
And,
Just don't
and
get
really
it, man.
really fringe surface level anime watchers because they hear about it and it's just like
It's a well-made show, but I've never liked it. Simple as that.
Well, the show's better. The movies are. Yeah. Sorry, sidetracked too much. Back to Godzilla.
Weeb.
Yeah.
I mean, just to add into what you guys are saying, the roar, that Godzilla roar in this movie sounds incredible. I'm talking about sound design from this time period. Even like Star Wars is incredible with the light shooters, beams, or whatever they're called, light sword sabers and all that. I'm not a big Star Wars guy. I know, I nailed it. I know all the lore with David Skyfield, and that was in the 70s. That's 20 years later. What give you? And this movie in the 50s, and that roar. I mean, it was again talking
The
about
roar,
the sound of
the
my TV.
guns,
Whenever it happened,
yeah.
I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa! I mean, you're pulled into that moment. And they did that. I think we talked about before the show. It was a bass or a cello. It was one of those big long string fellas, and they played it real slow. And then I don't even know how they slowed down.
They used a weird
it?
tool and scraped it along. Is what.
Yeah,
they did. That's how
and man, it chills you to your bones when you hear him doing that.
Because it does sound like an animal, but it doesn't sound right, which is kind of the point.
Yeah, man,
it's a
it's
monster.
haunting.
it sounds
Alright,
pain
so-
also.
Yes.
And if
The
I ever get a
first-
smart car, it's gonna be my horn. Go on, Beth.
Well, sorry, I don't mean to cut people off. No, I was gonna say the first movie with sound was released in 1927. So they had less than 20 years of
Man,
wow.
working
That's-
with that type of technology, which you can imagine how bad the sound was in 1927.
Yeah.
So it's insane. Like this movie really was way far ahead of its time. You know,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
not
Bill,
2024
I
ahead of its
respect
time.
Bill. I respect the honesty. I respect the honesty.
What is that?
I'll have you know, I'm one of those dweebs who thinks he's smarter than everyone else.
Keyword. Thanks.
What's funny about
Thinking
the
that I don't know. Thinking that seems kind of generous. I'm not sure.
some of these old movies, like I went back, I never saw Miracle on 34th Street until I think last year or something like that.
movie, dude.
And there's court battles and things of that nature. I think that one's also pretty old. I don't know if it's 50s. It might even be older than that. But in this movie too, the themes, they're 70 years old, but they're still relevant. You're watching, you're like, oh yeah, the media is covering up stories. The government is not taking all the best.
The government is
what's
not
going on.
being entirely forthcoming.
Yes,
And
who's
also the
affected,
cause of everything.
That
Also
doesn't
the
happen
sure.
in modern days, though.
No, this is
Everything's
a
fine.
problem of the past. It's nice to look back and laugh at those imbeciles.
We're in
Yeah,
a utopia right now,
there's-
currently.
We did it. There's a couple
did it.
scenes too that really struck me. This movie was a combination of, there's points where I'm like, man, I wish I could speed this up. When it's the government talking and stuff, it's like I get it. But a couple scenes that really stuck with me. One is whenever Godzilla is destroying, I think he's going through Tokyo, and there's that mother holding the two children, and she's like, "We're gonna be back with Dad soon," and it's just like,
No, you
dude,
ain't.
like. And then I'm
Yeah.
sitting there, I'm like, it's a movie. They're fine. They're backstage having a
It's
sushi or something, and
it's the first grimdark movie ever made. It's the first grimdark movie
Godzilla's
ever made.
grimdark.
oh man,
It's
but
grimdark.
that scene, and then the other one was talking about the media. There's a scene where they're up in that tower and they're reporting and they're on the radio and they're like, oh, Godzilla's destroying everything, this is really bad, and oh, he's getting closer, and what's going to happen next, and oh geez, he's getting real close, oh, we gotta stay on the air though, stay tuned, see what happens. And then of course he destroys the tower they're on, like kills all of them. But the entire time the media is doing whatever it takes to get the
We're
shot.
having some technical difficulties. We'll get back. Well, they'll get back to you anytime. Surely they
And
will. Yeah.
There was that movie that came out not too long ago called Civil War, and there's a scene in that movie that's very similar, where the media, it's like they're detached. They'll do anything
The
to get
character
that
has
shot,
to-
even if it's their own demise or stepping over the fallen
Godzilla did it
body
better.
of their friend. Sure. But it's something that, my point is that, again, 70 years old, these themes are still relevant. It's just like, I mean, you watch these old stuff and you feel like you're from a different era because we're young, and you watch this and you're like, oh, wait. This is
Also,
Timeless.
what a creative and plausible way to kill a monster like Godzilla.
Well, I was going to talk about the ending and how good the ending was. So the guy, like, the subtext of the movie, it's like, why does he kill himself at the end, right? Well, it's like he's taking himself out because he has the technology that killed Godzilla, and he doesn't want that technology to go. So that's why he's killing himself with it, with the monster. And also, another fun fact: 2 years prior, it was illegal for Japanese people in their films to have depictions of suicide. Can you guess why?
I have three guesses. I'll start with S. And with you.
Yeah.
Well,
He's
it's
in
like
there.
it's like he
Pearl Harbor.
it's like he checked off every box.
Oh,
It's
I
like
see.
this is the first and last time this technology will ever be used. There are no other samples. I've brought here's all my research papers, which were not enough, and he burned them in the fire. And
Well-
then he's taking out the bastion of knowledge and experience they created in the first place.
Except, and it gets like dreadful. You have that other guy. I don't remember which character it was. That's walking away as everyone else is saluting, and then he kind of has the final words in the movie. He's like, "Godzilla's going to be back."
There's going to be more.
And he doesn't really mean necessarily Godzilla, but he's just like the next Godzilla is going to be back.
And doesn't that
Um,
touch on the tragedy of the kamikaze spirit? Because
exactly.
yes, the guy was down in the dumps, and there's the poetry involved with, I need to take out the monster that started this to begin with. The knowledge of ultimate destruction, right? I need to go. But Godzilla's going to be back.
Yeah.
They're going to need somebody to take him out again, right? And so there's the tragedy of that, is like all these young pilots that went and sacrificed themselves.
Yeah.
Some of them were engineers, some of them were doctors, some of them were
Well,
teachers.
You
What
almost
if
think the
there was
movie
a-
could.
I was going to say, what if there was a moment of hesitation where he goes down into the ocean and he has the oxygen destroyer and he's like, maybe I should be using this somewhere else instead of down here.
Also, what a horrifying idea for a biological weapon of some kind. It's like, when this thing combines with water, it disintegrates any oxygen-based living life forms.
Yeah.
Like fish turn to bone, and then and then the bones disappear. I'm like, that's pretty freaking hardcore, dude. That's
Yeah, and Matt's, I cut you off. What were you saying?
Well, I was gonna say, I think like in an alternate world, if they didn't do Godzilla 2, it's like maybe that technology, the guy lives or something like that. Or no, the guy doesn't live, but somebody else comes out and builds something just as destructive, and then uses it against the Japanese people.
Yeah. You find the Tesla trunks in his garage or something. I don't know. Whatever he forgot to burn, quote unquote. You could contrive.
I don't think they actually ever intended on making a sequel.
I don't think they did. Yeah.
I was gonna say
when did I'll look it up, but when did the next one come out?
I think it was actually really quickly after. But then you see that success, and apparently they made an American version for the dub. Like there's additional. I guess. Well, I don't know if additional, but they have some different scenes where they have a white dude that's like part of the movie, and they wrote him in. And they kind of like edited him in, not like superimposed, but they did some reshots with some of the actors to like make it feel like he was always there.
And that man's name, Jim Varney.
They did the same thing with like Star Wars and shit.
Can someone bring up some of those images that McCoppin made, because they were killing me.
Oh my god! But do we have more to speak on with Godzilla before we get into the earnest memes?
The second film was in 1959. It was a terrible name, Godzilla Raids Again. What
Raids?
Yeah, Raids.
Godzilla.
Jeez, that makes him seem like a fun guy. Like, hey, he's
not
raves,
not raves.
No, like raid. Yeah, I heard you, but I mean, it's not good, but it just sounds like a mistranslation.
We're gonna commit a little war crime. I mean,
5 years isn't terribly early, I guess.
Yeah.
Commit a little war crime.
And I don't blame him. I mean, like we said at the beginning of the show, this movie made a lot of money for the time period. $500,000 budget in today dollars, and it made almost made 6.5 million. So that's a massive return. So I'm not surprised even if they intended to do one, if they came back and like, hey, you buy a whole,
and the strong points of this film are still really strong, which is impressive. Like 75 years later.
Yeah.
It's
but inconsistent. I agree.
I say it floats. AC, you float?
She's a floater.
Yeah. What do you think? I think even on technicality, it floats no matter what. Like, it's just there's. I don't think there's any way, like, that you could ever say this doesn't float.
I know, especially since the chat would turn against you.
Yeah, who would say that?
I like how you didn't even ask Justin. You're just
I know, we're just skipping him. His opinion isn't valid. For the record.
Hell yeah, dude. I didn't expect you to say it floats, because, like I said, it's slow even for me, which is...
bored to tears at times, but when it was good, it was like, damn, this is good. And the special effects, there was enough good there that it's not easy to recommend to everybody, but I think if you watch it, you will find parts of it to like for sure, and be like, and you can appreciate it's old, 70 years old. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and I usually like to, I hate to use that point of like, oh, it's old, let's be soft on it, but like there's just too much
75 years old.
Yeah, that matters.
Yeah. Well, because I think with the Western, I was just like, well, we're watching this in 2024, and it's not as entertaining. But like Kahuna said, the highs
you can shut your whore mouth.
Yeah, but it is still valid criticism in today's age, though. Like, there's points of the movie it's gonna drag.
Again, maybe if you can, 1.5 speed wouldn't be that bad in some scenes.
During
the only time I'm ever going to say this.
Yeah, the government planning scenes, and the movie's only an hour and a half, but it does feel slow despite that short. It's like my perfect movie length is like an hour and a half, and it's still at times it's like, all right, government guys, let's move on, let's get back to the people we really care about.
Government.
If you speed it up with Godzilla, it makes Godzilla look so bad.
Oh yeah, no, I checked. It looks bad.
Yeah. Checked. Now I'm curious. Need to pull it up.
Yeah, but all right, you got the Ernest memes. Pull those up first.
All right, yeah, let me check here.
Ernest memes.
Yeah, I think Ernest and Godzilla Ernest was pretty good.
That was my favorite. Yeah, he's got like the 6-shooter. It was perfect too because it almost looked like Oliver's too, which made it even better.
Yeah.
The Truman Show is disturbing. It doesn't look right.
Yeah, it's pretty disturbing. Yeah.
And 2 times speed, he still looks okay.
He checked. That's awesome.
Well, anyways, I think definitely McCoppin is the ensign of the Iron Seas.
The ensign?
Yeah, it's like
Ensign. Yeah.
low grade
Ensign.
officer.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Star Trek fans know.
I always thought it was
they use Navy
ensign.
ranks in Star Trek.
Oh, Star
Obviously,
Trek
we're
is-
using Navy ranks as well. Wonder why.
Dude, I still don't, to this day, I'm baffled that people like Star Trek more than Star Wars. Some people, anyway. I'm
Oh, yeah.
baffled every single time.
Wait, that they like what over what?
Star Trek more than Star Wars. I can't imagine a world where I like Star Trek more than Star Wars. It's not even close.
I get it. I'm not a huge fan, but I get it.
I don't watch. Oh, you're already posting. Sorry, my bad. You let me know.
I like the style. Like, I would watch this movie. The tail has a head also, which is funny. But I would watch this movie.
I didn't see that.
I just noticed.
It's Ernest said he's fighting himself or taking that whole it's meta.
It also looked like the
Godzilla's
city
in
was
town.
already destroyed. oh yeah, this one's pretty.
That's
good
my
too.
favorite. It's the best.
DMs.
It's like the entire military can't stop. He's like, "Don't worry, guys, I got this."
Well, what was the thing when the guy shot the gun at him? Yeah, the training of the.
Oh man, the rock, the arrow, and the stone. Oh, such
Buddy,
a
you
good
got your
scene.
DMs open.
Oh, yeah. I'm just sharing with the world, but anyway.
What's that? The anti-Ripper
I
alliance?
don't know. I don't even know, dude.
The I
the
hate
whole
Eric July fan club.
There's a fan club
Rip
called that,
up.
which is kind of cute.
Oh. But yeah, man, bring up I need to just bring up our dang thing because
Our dang thing. You know what I mean?
our dang thing.
Bang.
There
Oh,
we go.
our next topic. So the first topic, obviously these topics are influenced from the movie. We got
Tremendous.
scale, size, and distance, right? Obviously, talking scale with Godzilla and other kaijus / mobile suits. I wasn't even looking at God's ass.
You said the word. You got to do the thing.
Yeah. Talking about with movies and stuff like that, like one thing I can, when it comes to scaling, like I remember that Power Rangers movie that came out that not too long ago. Like the scaling was awful. Like sometimes they were like the trees didn't reach their toes, but then other times they were like not as tall as like 3-story buildings. And it's like
I have a
How
good
tall
example
are
of
they?
this. You guys ever see the movie Reign of Fire with Christian
yeah.
Bale? And
Yeah, that's going to be on the
alright,
Iron Seas
alright.
one
that
week.
that's a cool movie, and we are going to have to watch it at some point. But the scale of the dragons is so wildly inconsistent. It's like the most. It's the worst example of this. Like some shots, it looks awesome. It's like this dragon is bigger than skyscrapers. It's like resting on top of them, and then in this one, it's like it can fit in a courtyard. Like not even a big courtyard, just like a
Right,
courtyard.
I think somebody that is consistent with that type of thing would be like House of the Dragon, because the dragons themselves are part of the cast.
Oh,
So
they make Vagar look huge. Which
They
is
Jurassic
exactly how
Parked
they
that
should.
shit. They went into
Yeah.
the science of it and everything. You can tell. Like they studied eagles. It's cool. But Game of Thrones universe is also the greatest offender of distance, like Bats was saying, with some of the late Game of Thrones season.
Well, yeah, I mean, so like, the scale of monsters. I mean, there's visual storytelling with that in movies and stuff like that. It can have different themes, or it can tell more than just what they're saying on the screen, and that could work along with your writing as well. Obviously, not as well. But the other aspect of this topic that I was going to bring up is that like thinking about like travel time. You get really lazy story writing when, I think the best example is Game of Thrones, right? It takes them a fortnight, 40 days to travel between kingdoms in the early seasons. And then later seasons, they're just teleporting. And people are like, well, they're trying to move the story along. It's like, no, that's lazy. Like, it has
King's
to...
Landing.
I think it doesn't work because in the world of Game of Thrones, so much good or bad could happen in those travels, and it just feels like you're skipping all of it. And that's why I think it doesn't work. Because in some stories, I'm like, yeah, in Star Wars they have literal hyperdrives. They can literally just teleport mostly, or like something very equivalent to that.
Well, it talks to the world. It talks about the world, like if you have that. But even in a world where they have hyperdrives and stuff like that, it taking time to travel is still a factor in Star Wars.
Yeah, even in the movies, which don't have the same amount of time as a TV show, they still show the travel. It still happens.
Yep. Well, like when it came to communications, because they're like, oh, they're too far away. When they, their hyperdrive went, kaput, so they're stuck on that planet. And not to mention, it's just like even with like hyperspeed, like it still takes time for people to get from point A to point B. It's like if we call reinforcements and they're at planet X, they're not going to be there 2 seconds later. They're going to be there quick, but not like 2 seconds later.
Yeah. I was going to say that I'm pretty sure the size comparison of Westeros is like if you turn Europe on its side, King's Landing is like kind of north towards the bottom, and like Winterfell is kind of towards the top. So like imagine traveling all the way across Europe. You do that within the same episode or one episode later, and it's really easy to fix that. All you got to do is just have a little montage and just show us that time passed. It's fine. Literally House of the Dragon does that, and it's great. That's why,
there are other shows and other books especially, that are not guilty of this, but it comes down to taste. I've met people who do not like the heavy focus on the traveling aspect of a lot of fantasy books. Because, like, think Lord of the Rings, there are ways around it. But, like, again, I don't mind it, but a lot of other people don't like hearing about, like, their many of the steps of the journey. They kind of want to get to the
but then just focus on a different character like when something is going on, or just like
or make the traveling interesting. I don't know, it's not hard.
Well, even with the fix you just proposed, AC, that doesn't work either, because part of that is they screwed themselves over in a writing perspective, and you can't just like simply write yourself out of it. Like you have to.
It's
actually
going
put
down
thought
right
process.
now.
Yeah. They're surrounded. You can't be like, oh, hey, go run this place. It's like, well, according to your lore, your rules, it's going to take days for them to reach the wall. You can't just have them reach in the afternoon. It's like, okay, they're going to starve to death before any reinforcements come. Like
when Arya escapes from King's Landing with the Night's Watch guy after Ned Stark or whatever.
Jorund Halfhand.
Literally, that's a whole arc. That's a whole
I know. It's a horrible
journey
arc.
to the wall.
Yeah.
Just to the wall,
so
though.
Boring.
Like, that's.
Yeah. How dare you, Joe? Get out.
That part of the dude.
AC executed.
It was incredibly boring.
There's some cool symbolism in that part, though. That's rife with a whole bunch of cool symbols. But
it was good, and you can suck a.
She ate worms every day, and the boys complained every time they had to eat worms. But Arya just did it, and she was like a tough girl the whole time.
Yeah.
Oh wait,
how many pages did that happen on?
Most of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was good stuff too.
That dude just hit his tooth with a mug, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you sneezed.
It was audible. It was
I thought
a
you
clunk.
sneezed.
I was wondering what the hell just happened. You need to take a minute, brother.
Oh,
I'm good.
Talk shit about Arya again.
Yeah,
that
was George. That was Martin the Late, cursing you from afar with his. His
so Martin, he's sitting there like, he's talking about fuck you.
Yeah, he's watching right now.
Actually, he has a kind of a higher voice. A lot of authors do. I've noticed that.
Until he said that. Fuck this guy.
Yeah, it's all their low T, and that's why they can't finish their books.
Well, I may be low T, but I have a successful book series, Battsauce. So what do you have?
I have finished every book that
IT?
Yeah, high T. That's what I got.
Yeah, take that.
Yeah.
Look at this beard.
Yeah.
With the traveling and things of that nature, I think that whether or not you and how you choose to do it really depends on what you're trying to do with your story. And we've kind of talked about this a little bit, but I think of Master and Commander, where the distance that was traveled and the time that really mattered for the characters and how they reacted to the situation.
The pacing of that movie really works
Tension
in time with that. Yeah.
It's a good thing. people should embrace it. Like, yeah, you can gloss over travel, but you can also write an entire book on it. When I was writing my novel, I split it into thirds. You know, I was doing research, 3-act structure, all that. Ended up making a hybrid out of it in the structure. But I digress. The first 33% of it, I'm like, you know, I'm kind of getting into this. And there's another universe where I literally just wrote the first book is just the nautical part of the journey. You know what I mean? You can keep going with anything, you know?
These are all obstacles. Do not just simply remove the obstacles out of your story.
Exactly,
the obstacles are a challenge, and challenge is entertaining. Like, and it builds character.
A story is about conflict, and obstacles create conflict. Don't get rid of all of. Like, obviously, it comes to a point. It's like, okay, well, they're never going to get to Mordor, but no, you like. I think part of it comes down to the world too. How the world operates. Do they have how do people travel? How do they communicate? It's like in the world of George R. R. Martin, it's like they have ravens and they're fairly fast, but it still makes communication iffy. But like, say in the world of Stormlight, they have these things called span reads. If you're wealthy enough or you are friends with someone wealthy, you can have instant communication over any distance.
Oh,
that changes.
Huh?
Oh yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's like
if
you have nice eyes, you are rich and you have cool shit. If you're not, if you're just a simple brown-eyed guy, forget it, man.
Well, that creates new obstacles if you're going to be smart enough when you do it.
Like racism.
And Brandon does it. Yeah. No,
it's
the basically people can steal the information, right? And that starts to happen. So now you got different obstacles. But yeah, what were you going to say, AC?
Oh, I always thought the eye color segregation was really clever. You know?
Yeah. No, it's different.
It's obvious, but it's clever. Yeah. You know?
Well, it creates a similar problem, but with a very different method.
Yep.
And obviously,
it's just a surface level. Just a surface
level. Yeah.
Yeah, we're not going to do skin color here. We're going to do eye color.
Hazel eyes, hazel eyes. Yeah,
Hazel.
They could be. It could be.
Hazel gang.
Hazel's. I'm pretty
boring
sure
brown. Boring brown. Hey, where you at,
bitch? We got the ocean in our
brown
eyes.
And beautiful, baby.
I don't like how you said that.
Brown and beautiful, baby.
Is there any other way to say it?
No.
That's
the answer.
No.
Brown and beautiful, baby.
Oh, that's another way. There's another way. Oh,
that's
another
way.
I didn't like that either. Never mind. I regret.
You got to voice my female orc like that.
Well, let's get back to
what a big tusk you have.
Tusk love.
The scaling aspect of this. I feel like that's something that doesn't really come into too much of this stuff. I'm just thinking of a really good bad example. Rings of Power. When they have those
really
three tiny boats that took an entire
worse than Game of Thrones
with the cavalry, and you're just like, again, the visual storytelling. You're like, ain't no fucking way. And the show got torn apart for doing something stupid like that.
You guys remember when Sauron was part of a pageant for like 24 orcs in a cave somewhere? he's like running for office.
I mean, that was like such a simple fix. Like, just don't show the boats. I don't know why they showed the boats.
Because they need to.
They don't think about these things. That too, and they don't think about these things.
Say less. They don't think.
They need to watch more Iron Seas, and they won't have these problems. You know, they could be learning things here.
They need to commit categorical, career-driven seppuku. Anyway.
Oh no, it ended there anyway.
AC's gonna lose it.
Kahuna, they are committing it with every new thing that they make.
Yeah, but they're not making new things. They're just making old things that we love into pieces of modern trash. I don't know.
Yeah, very true, very true.
That being said, like people say, I'm never like all the new Star Wars stuff is terrible. Acolytes, we all know this, but people are like Star Wars is ruined. I'm like, you can watch the old movies and pretend the new ones don't exist. My kids have no idea that modern Star Wars sucks.
That could be
all they've seen is like OG, and we're almost done with the prequels. So
that could be a whole. They don't know that, but they're gonna find out one day. You know, it's like the man coming down the chimney. They're gonna learn eventually.
They're gonna be like, "What the hell happened?"
let's shift.
Like-
Let's shift the topic a little bit, right? And what you just mentioned, I don't think I necessarily agree with that, right? I've heard it and I get it where it comes from, but it's killing it as far as like the fans, right? So you got like a circle of fans that keep IPs alive and everything like that. And when you kill the interest that these core fans have, people aren't going to make new fan stuff because there's a whole ecosystem of fan made stuff. And when you kill that production, you're killing the IP and its relevance into stuff that will keep it alive for years and years and years, right?
These kind of fans are the reason things have staying power, not just
Yeah.
momentary popularity.
It's cultural
the
significance.
The true death is when never again another mainstream Star Wars movie is made, which I doubt that would happen, but that can be how it is officially dead. And especially if another company takes over the IP, and because it's so ruined, they make a movie and they go out of business. It's like that IP's dead, you know? And
Yeah.
you know,
But at the same time, I can't keep giving money to people who are constantly ruining the thing that like
No, you
something that
shouldn't.
I love. Like
Yeah.
I heard Andor was good. I've never
was.
watched it.
it was really good.
Never
Yeah.
watched it. I probably won't watch it. Not because I hate
same.
Andor and those shows, but because of what they've been doing. Like they brought me back in with The Mandalorian season 1. Good show. Has some hiccups here and there. Season 2 better. Season 3.
Season
They-
2 was
they
way
should-
worse. Get out of here.
Oh,
Season 2 was terrible.
dude, you and I, we're gonna have a problem.
Oh, really? I think I'm with Bats on that one.
But
But
Justin,
Power
your
Rangers back.
opinion doesn't count. Okay.
no,
So-
of course it counts. It counts for like a whole bunch. I was
Are we in the ACP live stream?
Oh Lord.
We're just gonna see.
I was going to say that I understand your point, Kahuna, and you're not necessarily completely wrong. There are shows that I do that with and franchises where I have the same take. I'm like, those just don't exist. It works to a point, but I think whenever there's so many things based on the franchise, it gets really hard to be like, these 3 exist and these 70 don't. It's one thing if it's like these 3 exist, these 2 or 3 don't, but once it gets so big, it's so hard to ignore it after a certain point. That's
Well,
where I
yeah.
stand anyways.
But no matter how bad modern Star Wars stuff gets, Return of the Jedi is still one of my favorite movies of all time. To this
Yeah,
day.
but how long will it be passed down to generations? I can assume you're going to pass it down to your kids, but will your kids pass it down to their grandchildren?
Under threat of death. No. Yes.
Yeah, no, I think that it's like if they're just like, oh, there's all this other slop that's going to kind of, because they're not going to have the same nostalgia watching it that we did when we were younger. I don't feel like it's the same.
Well, Joe, think about it. Return of the Jedi, I'll use that example because it's my favorite of the original. It came out in 1983. I was born in 94. I probably didn't see it until near the end of the 90s.
Did you watch the re-release when it went to surround sound?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did too. I think that's a big thing. When they re-release, like that's why I think there's a huge thing with 90s kids tied to Star Wars. I remember seeing Return of the Jedi in theaters. It's like one of my earliest memories. That's one of my favorite memories.
I didn't see it in theaters, actually. Now that I'm thinking
well,
about it.
I saw it in theaters, and it was like the theater was crowded, right? So if you don't have these like big theater movie moments, it's gonna slowly die. Like I think even with the prequels, they weren't as big, like right. So it didn't have the same cultural staying that I think that the re-release the surround sound
They're
had.
looking better and better. I'm telling. I've always liked the prequels. Obviously, I grew up with them, but even without that, like, there's still like I was watching the worst of the prequel movies, which is Attack of the Clones, and it's so infinitely more watchable than any of the sequels.
Well,
It's embarrassing how more
absolutely,
watchable it is.
but it's not. It's not having the same impact. Like I don't think you're like, starving to or just impatiently waiting to show your kids the the prequels. Like you really want to show them the OG.
Oh no,
not
I
the
showed
prequels.
them both. Yeah, I showed them the OG and then the prequels. We're like halfway.
Yeah,
through.
but I'm sure you didn't care as much when you showed them the prequels.
No, I did.
Okay, well, Not everyone will. Most people are not gonna.
Only a Sith deals in absolutes.
That wasn't an absolute. What are you talking about?
Bad faith argument.
Your campaign.
Let the anger flow through you.
I was gonna say though, that's the $1 million question though. Will this be inherited to like your kids and their kids? That is what like creators need to focus on more, instead of like virtue signaling, or even the rubber band effect of like anti-virtue signaling, or like trying to stick it to this group of people, or whatever the case is. I'm gonna do this trend or whatever. No, just like stay true to yourself and try to make something that you would pass down to your own kids.
It's just the fan economy, I think, is super important, and it's the Star Wars fan economy is like dead. And even between like the movies before, like those books, though, like I never read the books, but I knew a bunch of people in school that read the books, and they always talked about how cool they were, and I'm like,
they had all of those books to base the new movies off of, and they didn't do a single.
Yeah.
And then it makes me really upset when I see something really cool like the at least the first season of what was it called, Castlevania. And I never really played. I played like one of the games when I was younger.
I'm playing one right now.
And like I feel like that show coming out and how good it was, like revitalized, not just revitalized, you might not agree, but I think a lot of people like the show. And it revitalized the fan base and also brought in a bunch of new fans that are just like, oh, let me check out all this other Castlevania stuff.
I don't think a lot of people who watched the show, who had not played it before, decided I'm going to play a game based off of this show.
Yeah.
I don't think that happens with if they really like it. Like maybe Castlevania is not the best example, but I definitely think
that kind of thing can happen
when they really like something.
Not great for that reason.
Yeah, and there's all this other old stuff about it. Like they want to like start doing it. I mean, start investing into that stuff, and like, learn more about the world. Learn more about that. What else does it have?
Well, Brian talks about evergreen products, avoid any todayism, go with timeless concepts. Whether Star Wars or something like that is what our kids show their kids eventually or not, they will have their own version of that at some point. Because these stories are old as time. There aren't any new stories. They've all been told in some way before in time in memoriam. So they will continue.
Let's bring this back to Godzilla. Like the time, like that. Talk about time, like that. That's just filled with timeless concepts, right? I think it's like we got to question what is todayism, and it's just like the things that we don't care about. There's no such thing as a wholly original idea. All these like concepts and ideas, like there might be little tweaks here and there, but like we've had stories with these concepts before. It's just I think when Brian, and correct me if I'm wrong, when you mentioned todayisms, it's like you're trying so far out the box that you're just coming up with a retarded idea, and nobody likes it.
Right, and it's almost like we're all making this collective chowder, and it gets passed along through the ages, right? You get the chowder, and you've seen how everybody's done it before. You got your own ideas. I think the key thing is you just make it taste good. You add your twist to it, sprinkle your seasoning, and pass it along, right? It's when people like dump out half of the chowder and then add like worms and random roots that they found in mushrooms, then everybody starts tripping out and choking. And
when you mistake the chowder bowl for the piss bowl, and things it's a mess. Yeah. It's a mess.
Or don't even mistake it. You just decide to piss in it because it'll save money. Or
that's why you never mistreat an employee at a restaurant.
Yeah.
Also, Justin, we've talked about this before, but Symphony of the Night is one of the coolest names for a thing of all time.
I
love that. I love that.
Cool. I was just talking about Castlevania. Yeah, I love that game.
Yeah. I still haven't played one. I need to at some point.
Dude, Symphony of the Night. Start with Symphony of the Night.
Dope.
Great games. Yeah. Classics. That's why it's
great. Games.
Yeah,
classic.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I think it's just really cool when people like you already have like established good universes going on, and then you can like reach a new audience by coming out with something modern and not like todayisms, but like when it's more modern, or just in the news cycle or whatever you want to say, and pop culturally relevant or whatever, and it just brings more people into it.
Is there any chance that something like Godzilla -1 kind of sets that trend?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It takes almost everything I loved about the original, and it does it modern, and it does it better.
Well,
It's a really
especially when bigger channels like Nerdrotics and stuff do those direct comparisons. They're like, oh, guess what? One of these Acolyte episodes cost 22 -1s. Imagine that.
Yeah. So
it's insane to make that comparison.
1950s franchise that they're like, we need to reboot. Forget the 80s. We're going back to the 20s. Finding like a property from way back when to reboot.
Actually, if you're going to do a reboot like an old 1920s talkie. Take something with no sound and
Triple
no one knows about it anymore.
Quadruple indemnity.
Well, how many people do you think went and rewatched the old movies for the first time, even after Godzilla -1?
They were free on YouTube, so it's possible.
Yeah. I think plenty of people wanted to do that. And I think they would have even paid money to like rent it if they wanted to.
I did.
Yeah, the money. That's absolutely true.
That's an entirely different
it was on
animal,
HBO.
But yeah.
But
let's see here.
No, it was free on YouTube. But that
I got it on Amazon Prime for free. So yeah.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. So I guess we can get into our next topic. Let me do our transition. It helps me so much when I edit. Yeah, remakes should be done with bad movies.
No view count, 24,000.
McCoppin, The Last Starfighter is what comes to mind when you say that. Because I could not help but watch, and I'm like, if they just took this exact same concept, cut out the Earth scenes, and updated the graphics, this would be a pretty freaking based movie. Because like the Earth scenes work in an 80s movie when you're cutting back and forth and everything's like Dune style or something. But like in a modern context, you can make this really cool, like realistic movie where this kid gets swept away, and it's like a portal fantasy though, right? That's what came to mind. That's what The Last Starfighter is it's a portal fantasy. So when it cut back to Earth, I'm like, what the heck? If they modernize that, put some like really good actors at the heart of it, pumped a bunch of money into it, stayed true to the IP, most importantly, and just made it a portal fantasy, I think it would be like one of the best movies made in a while.
I didn't get to rewatch that.
Like
it's so good.
In the early 2010s and late like 2000s, the first 10 years of some of the remakes were maybe some of them were not super inspired, but they weren't offensive. Like in maybe 2011, they came out with a remake of Footloose. I thought it was fine. I was at the point where I'm like, I could watch either one, and it's completely fine. I'm not offended by someone preferring one over the. Oh, shush! I do prefer the older one, but
let's dance. What did you say after seeing -1? What? He put up.
I have to borrow my roommate's Godzilla collection.
Oh yeah. But all right, the next topic we have: slow burns in suspense. When does it become more suspenseful for being slower, and when does it become kind of a little bit boring?
The Shining. Everything leading up to him turning psycho, the build up to that is scarier than him being just full on psychopath at the end. It's a slow burn. It's the building of tension for the entire film, and slowly things get more uncomfortable. Slowly,
Master and Commander.
Interrupted him.
And the worst, like, what do you mean? That makes no fucking sense. Talking about the middle of The Shining, you're like, pop in, Master and Commander, out.
You bet your sweet Bippy I did.
Got you.
What were you saying, Kahuna?
Oh, but yeah, no, the slow burn aspect of that movie is what makes it slowly becomes more uncomfortable as the movie goes on. And that only works in a slow burn. You can't build that up in a very, very quickly. It's not scary in the way like a jump scare is, but it works a lot better for like that uncomfortable, lingering feeling. That movie will stay with you longer than a modern movie that's maybe scarier because of that slow build, that slow burn, the things slowly becoming more unhinged. That's just my opinion, but that's an example where it makes a lot of sense to have a slow burn.
To me, I have never seen a movie that's a slow burn where I'm like, it was a slow burn. I'm like, the pacing was bad, and artsy people call it a slow burn. Like, that's all it is. If the pacing's good, you're hooked.
But-
You're not like, where is this going? This is going. Is
Justin,
this
you
going
have
somewhere?
Justin.
It's been
you have
2
to-
hours. Are we getting somewhere? Like, if it's engaging, I don't consider that a slow burn. If it's boring, I
no,
do.
a slow burn can be engaging. The
It
difference
should
is
be.
Never
some
seen
people
I've never
just
seen
don't have the attention span.
No.
Justin.
Oh.
I love you, man. You have to admit you are the goober brain with this one. Your brain. There's something wrong with. Wait, play that Jordan Peterson clip. If you keep doing what?
If you keep doing that, something you do not want is going to happen to you with 100% certainty.
With 100%.
I stand by it.
I
Stand by.
understand, but I knew where you would stand on this topic because you don't like any movie where things have a moment to breathe.
I don't like movies that waste my time. My time is precious. Don't drag things out. Like, let's get it going here.
I just love how he said that. I don't like when movies waste my time.
Man.
Wait, Justin, can you tell me about finances, about being responsible, what you have to do? If you save 50% of making shit money, you'll still have shit money.
Wait, what? I don't understand.
I don't know the way you said it, man. It just felt like like advisors.
Yeah, no. If I'm watching movies that just like hang on a shot, it's just like, I get it. The tree's pretty. Can we keep going now? And they're like, here's a line of dialogue you don't really need, but we'll throw it in there because it's slice of life or whatever. And then it just keeps going. And I'm like, who made this? Where's the editor? This movie could have gone from 2 hours to a tight 140 and been like, great. I would have rewatched it. Instead of rewatching it, I'm just like, where's my 1.5x? I need to get through this.
I agree with you for some movies, but it's like there definitely are movies that are slow burns that the extra time on hanging on things helps it. Who's making fun of me?
No, everybody's
they're making fun of me because they're comparing ladies to movies, and they're not the same thing. One is fun, one is not always.
Everybody's wife is thrilled with this mindset.
Well, so
different things. Maybe that's why I don't have time for movies. You ever think about that?
Did anyone see The Green Knight?
She watched it. She said it was not good. That's all I know.
It was the worst movie I'd ever seen.
Oh, okay.
And you want to talk about slow burn? It was really slow, just even from the beginning. And I remember, like, he goes out on his horse out of the kingdom, and you just see this like wide shot of this trail. And I'd be like, oh, it'd be really funny if they make us watch him go on that trail the whole time. And they made you watch him on that horse the entire time. And then, like, you have people like Moist Critical being like, this movie's great. I can't believe it failed. And you're like, did we watch the same fucking movie, dude? Like, I didn't need to spend 20 minutes on a fucking horse and a cake. Like, what?
It's like sometimes it comes down to like it's an older film and they just paced films differently back then. Sometimes there's that, but sometimes it's just I don't care if a movie is slow and contemplative as long as it's good. You can have a really slow scene that's really like look at Mask of Zorro. The slow scenes of Mask of Zorro are as good as the fast-paced like adventure fighting scenes in Mask of Zorro. They're all because it's engaging conversation. It's interesting. You're building character. You're unveiling the past. There's something happening, even if it's not action oriented. Justin,
it doesn't have to be action. It just has to be like completely necessary and not. I don't know. I feel like every time it's slow, I'm like, this could have been tighter, guys. This could have been tighter.
So.
I'm struggling.
There's a lot of jokes I'm not going to make about that, but
not the Green Mile. Wait, he said the Green Mile sucked. That's a lowbrow opinion.
Wait, who didn't like Green Mile?
Moist Critical.
He's a YouTuber.
Oh, okay, I liked that
yeah.
movie in parts, but aspects of it I really did not like because
Well,
like
it's a very dark subject matter, and
exactly
bad things happen to good people. And Justin's like, I wanted them all to escape and live in the same neighborhood as friends.
I wanted them to all, repent and be buddies. That's what I was.
All right, this says Inception is a slow burn.
Yeah.
Do we?
No, I don't. I don't agree
some
with that.
scenes.
I mean,
agree with
they take their time when it's appropriate, but I don't think it's it's not a slow. Like, there's a lot of action throughout.
So-
I think so. Yeah.
What were you going to say,
I
Justin?
guess you need to establish what exactly makes a slow burn feel like a slow burn. Is it dialogue where they talk like this?
It's
Is it
when
one slow camera movement that goes on for about 4 seconds too long every time with no edits? What is exactly that makes a slow burn feel like a slow burn rather than just a well-paced, like fun, engaging thing?
There is a lot of scenes in Inception where they linger on a shot, but there's so much happening around in the story that I guess it doesn't really feel like a slow burn, maybe, because I think that's the thing where, Justin, I feel like if it feels slow, you're like, I'm out. But it doesn't, like, yeah, I don't think that means because movies linger on a shot and it's a slow burn that's bad. Like this one example, 2001: A Space Odyssey, like that definitely needs to be edited and trimmed up.
People will crucify you for that, but I completely agree.
I don't think that's a hot
I like Kubrick too. I like his movies, but that movie is. I don't know why people treat it like it's like the peak of cinema. It's mid. I'll say it. It's mid. 2001: A Space Odyssey.
I had it. It's mid. This is 7 is a slow burn. It's been too long since I saw 7.
A lot of good thrillers are a slow burn. It's slowly building up tension and making things more uncomfortable. That's where it makes sense. Arrival. I said that
Arrival
earlier.
is a slow burn. Yeah, sorry, I must have missed that. But that was a slow burn, and you said you like that, right, Justin?
Arrival?
Yeah.
Did you like it?
That's definitely.
I thought it was fine. I thought it could have been 20 minutes shorter. We talked about this. We did.
How much shorter would Rocky have been?
Rocky, half hour, 40 minutes, easy. Easy.
Bro. I can respect that you have a very different, incorrect taste in movies, but not liking Rocky is wild. That's one of the wildest things
I don't understand why everybody just forgives the guy as a character. He's a beats up people for a loan shark. That's his career. It's not like he's a nice guy and does that and he's conflicted. It's his job. He beats up people for a loan shark. And then he creeps on that girl, and you go to his house, and that's where everything falls apart for me. Like, up to that point, I'm like, all right, maybe. And you get to his house, and it's a mess. And then she's like, well, your house is filthy. There's roaches. There's a knife in the wall. I guess I'll stay. And I'm like, why do I like these? I don't like these characters. Just follow Apollo Creed. He seems likable.
Guys, for my birthday, we're gonna pick Rocky for the week, and I'm gonna make Justin watch it again.
What about? I haven't seen it.
Ooh, house rules, birthday boy choices. That's cool.
I think we should have a birthday boy. But like,
I like that.
Justin, some of us aren't perfect, all right, and we like a character we can relate to. He's a man who is by circumstance in very.
Have you ever met a man who has a knife in the wall and puts his hat on it with beer cans everywhere and bugs and trash?
Man,
clean your room.
Yeah. Sounds like a fucking man.
Clean your room, Bucko.
I'm like, I don't want to hang out with this guy. I want my kids hanging around with.
That's kind of gay.
Would it help if you knew they became a nicer, like, upper echelon member of society? Became affluent, became well-spoken and all of that? He used this opportunity to make his life better?
The endpoint's fine, but the beginning is just like, this guy is not, there was nothing other than, oh, you got heart. One guy says you have heart, and that's how we're supposed to determine he has heart. I don't know. It didn't.
Did you finish the movie? Yeah. He proves it.
I had to watch it with other people in 1.5x. So you never seen this? It was the greatest movie ever. And I watched it, and yeah.
This is the worst take I've ever heard on a movie.
That's what everybody says about this movie, but
my God.
He's standing by his guns right now. He's getting a little upset too. He's like,
I'm in awe. I can't believe it. This is like discovering that my eyes are wrong and the sky has been green.
And this is actually a topic that I will suggest in future episodes. One that I've been thinking about that I think is one you guys will have opinions on. It's about characters and arcs and is growth about growth of a character in general. Things of that nature.
Justin, everything I know about you, you like arcs that are flat. You like them to be good in the beginning and to not change throughout the story.
I like a character I can get behind and stick behind who is like mostly good, and if he goes like wavers a little bit. If he starts off like at the bottom, works. So if that can work, okay. But you got to give me something there other than some guy saying, "No, you're actually nice." That's all I got. It's like, clean your house, Dan. He never cleaned his house. Clean your house,
AC,
man.
is your laptop resting on your penis? Like this angle is.
He's got that smile.
Yeah, and I'm like 3 feet away. So,
bro,
I haven't seen like this most of this movie.
I haven't
Sorry,
seen
AC.
Heat. I haven't seen Heat.
I haven't either. Yeah.
Heat is a
Would you
good movie.
consider it a slow burn?
Oh,
100%.
It's on this list. It's on this list. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a slow burn for sure.
What were we gonna say, Justin?
Heat?
What's the other hot take?
Oh, Heat? No, I just thought that movie was awful. That was another one. People like, you gotta watch it, and I couldn't
What's your
stand
Heat
it.
take?
It's not the peak of cinema, but it's a good movie. That's what
I
I'm
didn't
saying.
like any of the characters, and I couldn't stand the ending.
Yeah, I would have guessed you would hate every part of that movie. Yeah. Wait, worst Godzilla was the American? No, I'll leave. I don't think the 2000 Godzilla. It's not the worst Godzilla. Japan made some shit.
They made some really bad movies.
Yeah, they did.
Really quick, can we compare the 2001 to the original one that we just watched? Look what we did to the horrible monster that terrified Japan.
We turned him into an iguana.
A mother. We like sympathized it. We sympathized Godzilla. We're like,
we can't have any
Godzilla
female Godzillas.
The theater.
Yeah, no,
There's a bunch of baby Godzillas. It was
the Rose Bowl.
That design was terrible.
The design was really different. I don't think it was bad. I thought it was a cool design.
It was different.
Terrible.
Yeah,
it was not Godzilla.
No,
That's all I know.
No.
It was not Godzilla.
I'm just looking at the defacement that we did to their beloved lore. We were just like, no, we actually love Godzilla now.
They made an animated film the next year in protest where they made Japanese Godzilla kill American Godzilla.
Yeah. They knew that was the moment. I think that they knew they needed to step their game up to really actually start competing with us. Otherwise, we're just going to sit here and basically.
And then, did you have atomic breath in that movie?
No. Just a big dinosaur. Yeah.
He's just a big lizard.
He's more like the creature he was based off of.
Joe, do you remember
Godzilla.
he gets killed by jets in that movie? They just missile strike him in the torso, and he's done for, dude.
Sorry, I got the best Godzilla design ever right now.
Oh no!
I just like pointing that out whenever because it's just on its face. It's just obvious proof of why Japan gets so mad when we make Godzilla movies.
Son of Godzilla,
dude. It's so bad. It's
this reminds me of the
ugliest piece of shit.
The Godzilla cartoon, and when we were kids, we were like, "Oh, Godzilla cartoon."
Why does this look
Godzilla.
racist? This looks racist somehow.
But we get all fired up about the cartoon, and then Godzuki would show up, and he was like this bumbling idiot, and he was like the scrappy dude. It was just like, get this character off the screen.
Wasn't that the name of him? Godzuki.
Godzuki. Oh, is it the same one? I just remember the cartoon. Whenever it was like Godzilla, we're like, yes. It's like, and Godzuki. We're like, no, change it.
Tim Allen brings up a good point. I loved Godzilla before all of you were born. Fair. We'll give you that. Oh yeah, no, Brian, the Japanese are super duper racist and that's been what I've been told by relatives and friends of mine who have been there and lived there, and I'm sure Bats is a little aware of that, even if he didn't experience it firsthand. But yeah, no, a buddy of mine he was living there for 12 years. And there were a couple of restaurants he would go to, and they were like, "Oh, no, you may not, you may not eat
just
here."
No,
yeah, Gaijin. And we're like, nope, white, get out of here.
I actually don't know what this is.
Dude, that's him from the cartoon. Does that look cool or fun? And you can see Godzilla's design.
Look at him scolding him on Reddit down there on the bottom left.
Dude,
he's like,
it was the worst. It was the worst. Whenever it was the cartoons, and he came on, I was like, yeah, Godzilla, and then it was like, man.
Wait, go up a second. That green dragon, he's sus, dude. That's not a. I don't know what he's planning for these kids. It can't be.
Oh,
good.
that was another factor I meant to bring up. They were one of the main guys on the design team really wanted Godzilla to be an octopus.
Oh,
like
man,
a tentacle monster. We almost got a tentacle. Like, could you imagine that world where Godzilla's a tentacle monster?
You mean
I'd be
Cthulhu?
okay with
yeah, I can't imagine.
No, but
Octopus
how
are one of the most
Japanese
horrifying
that is.
creatures.
You know how much.
Come on.
Think about how much tentacle prawn exists, and how much more would exist if Godzilla was a tentacle monster.
Dude, octopus
I
are
know, dude.
terrifying.
Animation overload.
Oh, hello, child. Oh. Okay, guys, I'll be right back.
All right.
I'm glad I
think
used code words. I'll be.
We're going to go to our new little segment now, which we just discussed like 5 minutes before the show.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about a few of the comments that we've gotten either on our live stream or some of our videos. Just some highlighted ones, some good ones, you know? Sorry, nobody on the show right now is on any of them. You just didn't make good enough comments. You should probably fix that. All right, wait 1 second. I gotta set myself up. Let's see your screen. All right, so I got a bunch of this video did pretty well. We hit the algorithm a little bit on the dangers of writing a self-insert character and why you should avoid it. And so we got some comments where people gave us some good examples of some self-insert characters, which I thought should probably highlight some of them, right? Luke Skywalker's not George Lucas. That's not a self-insert. At least it's not like overtly self-insert. Sorry, Wrangler, but don't stim petrol.
Snip the button instead.
You guys, you got to watch the beginning of the stream to understand that reference.
Absolutely excellent intro song this week, yeah.
But this guy's comment right here, I wanted to highlight. He said, James O'Barr did The Crow. A lot of it is based on the tragedy of what happened to his first wife. She was hit by a drunk driver, and a lot of love scenes he drew and wrote were somewhat his life. So that's one thing I want to mention. He said somewhat his life. And like I said in this video, like everybody self-inserts to an extent, right? But he was also getting drunk, doing drugs, and getting in constant fights, living in a bad way. The Crow was originally a therapy piece for him, and I did mention in the video where it's like people who write stories and they use it as like their like just go to therapy instead of writing a book. But yeah, wasn't until later someone recognized his talent and needed another story to sell for their comic book company, and they printed the first issue, and the rest is history. Putting yourself into a story can be done. The Crow was his rage for what had happened, and his heartbreak. So I've never seen The Crow. I don't know if he's self-insert. I don't know if that character's cringe, to be honest. And from this statement, I also think I'm like, you can definitely self-insert yourself into characters like that. You pretty much always do it with all your characters. And that kind of wasn't what I was talking about or what we were talking about. Mostly just like an overt self-insert where it literally is just you. Like you into words of your book. I don't know. Has anyone on this panel seen The Crow?
Yeah, I've seen the original Crow. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw original Crow a while ago, though.
I read part of the comic. I never finished it, though.
Okay. Is The Crow cringe? Like, I don't know.
It's very much of the time, but I still enjoyed it. I don't know whether it's cringe or not. I just remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's never been like a favorite movie of mine, but nothing about it is there's nothing I really dislike about it either. It just seemed it was a movie that it was so of the time that remaking it feels, I don't know, unwise. Like they're really scraping.
Apparently the new one
movie.
just came out. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard it was
why
bad.
it's probably on people's minds.
Heard it was bad.
Yeah. I have a buddy that he finds something to enjoy about most movies, and even that one he was a little hesitant on. So it must have been really off the mark.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when you really mess up, is when the quote cinephiles reject it. Because they usually don't reject it until it's safe to. So
it is one though. Like I look for it at Goodwill since it's been popped up recently with the reboot. I was like, I should maybe check out the original. I heard it's not bad, So I'm like, maybe I'll watch it just so I can have conversations like this. Be like, I've seen that movie. Let me tell you why I think it's garbage, and it'll just be in character for me.
Also, guys, I have to go here in just a second. Unfortunately, I got to take the kid home and do a few other things. But I figured I'd show off another comment that I think is worthy of appreciation. Plus, I just want to hear you guys talk about it later.
Okay,
And
yeah. Well, last thing I'll add to this is just if all he did was like use his rage and like that part of his life to influence the character, that really isn't what we were talking about with self-insert. But yeah.
Personal muscle mommies. Personally, I don't like them. However, I wouldn't say they don't serve a purpose. As long as they aren't the main character or a strong supporting character, I'm okay with them. Actually, I have one in the game I'm making. Anyway, you guys can talk about muscle mommies and how strong they're allowed to be and how prominent they should be in stories. Anyway, guys, it's been good. Thought I'd just leave you on a good topic. All right, guys. Good night.
Night, Kahuna.
Oh crap!
What's going on here, Tim Allen? Am I missing something?
Whoa!
What's going on? Oh, later, Kahuna. What's going on? Why are people? What's happening? Why do I love you?
They're coming for
Did I
you,
say
Sudas.
something wrong? Oh no.
No, you're good.
All right.
I think. I don't know. I got to catch up.
Yeah.
So muscly ladies in storytelling. This
He's not
this
sharing his
topic
screen
again.
anymore. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I guess it's okay. Default. We don't got to talk.
No,
about
we can still talk about it. Sorry, I'm just mentioning it's not up because
AC has thoughts.
Yeah. No, share your thoughts.
Oh
share your
no, I
thoughts.
was just going to continue it. How has your guys' thoughts on the subject aged since we last talked about it?
Well, we've learned that muscle. Well, at least for myself, that muscle moms are cringe because of Legend of Korra, and I stand by that. Now, as a supporting character, I might be a little bit different on that. Like he said, strong supporting character. I'm like, yeah, I think a muscle mommy works really well for a supporting character.
Yeah, like a psych. Yeah. I mean, even the main character in certain stories could work.
No.
Yeah,
It's terrible.
Yeah. I will write an arcade chronicle with a female orc just for you, buddy.
All right.
And you know the reptilians in my stories are pretty swole. They're huge like Krogans from Mass Effect. So we already kind of got a Dami mommy in the form of Votisa. So there you go. She wields a spear in an oak shield, bro. You think she's skinny? She's a big reptilian.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm not poo pooing on the crow. I've never seen it, but
I'm poo pooing on the crow because I don't remember anything. So
That's what happened.
there we go.
Take that.
There we go.
Man.
Yeah, I mean, I prefer it. I think more as a sidekick character. I've never seen a property where the main character has been a battle babe, and I'm like, yeah, I think they're better suited. But I like a simple character to be the lead. Generally speaking, it doesn't always work. A little bit of growth is fine, but a lead that is, I don't know, a dude.
Well,
Like
it's
nobody
overpowered.
complains about Supergirl.
If you're going for strength,
You know?
I'd prefer to see it in like a physically muscular, strong character. I will almost always prefer a dude over a battle babe.
Well, it's even with like Korra, it's just like the overpowered characters just don't really ever. I mean, they can, but they don't usually work as the main character. But they almost always work as a side character.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're gonna have an overpowered character, make them the side character. But don't have the side character say that they're a side character essentially, and then kind of make them the main character.
John Douglas did it good with his Minotaur,
Yeah.
or his Minotaur muscle lady, because she's kind of off to the side, but she also has a great excuse by being a Minotaur. She's going to be like bigger and stronger than everybody.
Yeah,
that's kind of what I was getting at. Like that's a great way to put it. And I mean, you can have these as protagonists too. I mean, you just need good reasons. Like I said, nobody complains about Supergirl or Wonder Woman. These characters with super strength because they don't look muscly. That's the other thing. So I think a lot of it is cosmetic.
Wonder Woman should look muscly.
Yeah.
Now I agreed with you last time, and now that I'm thinking on AC's point, I'm like, I don't know. Actually, maybe I don't feel it because it's like magic that makes her strong. So it's not human
Yeah,
limitations.
she's still look
But there's a
muscly,
good
though.
reason.
I mean,
Yeah, there's a good
she's way stronger than her muscles would ever, portray.
I think
But
I think
she's
the
be
problem is
muscly.
when you have Galadriel swim across 7 oceans and then climb a mountain with a dagger, and that's
Well,
it. And all the
it's
men
like-
are getting tired, and she's like, "This is easy," Like,
Yeah,
that's
fuck
the
that.
problem.
But that's not a muscle. She doesn't even have muscles in that show. But I mean, it's like old She-Hulk versus new She-Hulk, where like the new She-Hulk, they basically make her look like a orc, and everybody's like, no. But the old one,
Right.
like she had muscles, but she was sexy.
I will say
Feminine.
the big difference there too is even though you have a similar character, the old one, from my understanding, was likable, and maybe that's the bridge
Yeah.
to gap here
Gotta
is
be
that
likable.
if the character is likable, I think you're probably willing to forgive or be okay with a lot of things, as opposed to if they're insufferable and then you're like,
Well, they're trying to force you to like them.
And I feel like oftentimes when you have these muscly ladies, they're made to be the big and large and in charge, and everyone else sucks, and they're not fun to be around, and they're just me, and it's like this weird power fantasy that just comes off in a strange way, as opposed to being a likable character that you can get behind a roof for, and that's all I want.
Yeah, but I go back to the side character. I think John A. Douglas is a great example with his, Minotaur lady. I mean, she kind of is overpowered, but it's justified. She's got a history of, she's been in a history of these huge battles, years of training, and she's a race that makes her strong. But she's not the main character.
Justified. Yeah.
So it's justified, but like it would probably be boring if she was the main character. Is what I'm saying. But she's not there
That's a
as
good
the main
point,
character.
too,
She's
yeah.
there to guide the main character and help the main character on his growth.
But I'll point at Conan the Barbarian, because if you just put like John Douglas's Minotaur in the same story as Conan, it still works.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, I'm going to move on to another comic. I have a couple from here I want to talk about. So we got a good way to avoid a self-insert character is to split out your personal traits among multiple characters. It worked pretty damn well for Burke Breathed. I don't know who that is, but I agree with this statement. Ed and Eddie, great example. I think somebody mentioned Ed and Eddie. The guy said he's like, yeah, these are basically the 3 versions of me. And like I said, as long as you're not putting your whole self into the character, that's pretty much what I'm saying. Don't put your whole self.
Yeah, and being disingenuous about it. I don't know. As long as you're transparent and respectful with anything, I think you get a lot of leeway that a lot of people don't normally get. It's because people appreciate that respect and transparency. It's pretty straightforward.
But I mean, a lot of people people are pointing out kind of that we could have done better on the conversation, obviously. And that goes with any conversation we ever have. Of course, we could have done better. That's why it's like I kind of want to highlight some of these.
Of course, yeah. Anybody can do better. Yeah, for sure. I'm not saying, and we're always learning, And
absolutely.
On top of that, like we follow bullet points and we have topics and stuff, but this is actually very informal. It's just kind of we're kind of following a path, but a lot of times we don't even get to our topics, which is fine. The point is to talk, hang out, discuss ideas. So,
AC, do you have to leave?
I do.
Yeah.
So
I just noticed this chat right now. It's like
I'll just leave you guys with this. A Saga of Sunsets is going until funded, so back it. Let's bring a comic book to the Iron Age. Let's make a splash here because we all need to stick together. And check out my book on Amazon for the source material, and A Mortal Descent. The link for my comic's been on screen here the whole time. I liked Godzilla. Can't wait for next week, boys. It's always a pleasure.
All right. Thanks, man. Later.
Yeah. Thank you.
Emily, we're just gonna finish these comments, then we'll roll out ourselves.
Sounds good.
We were gonna play. We had a very special song for you guys, but I can't. I don't feel like it's right if we play it without the other 2 hosts, or at least one of the others.
That's fair.
Unless you wait. Do you have more than one? Maybe we can play one.
No, I just did. I did those 2 generations, and that was the one I could actually hear well enough to send your way.
Well, guys, we're gonna have to tune in next week for a very, very special surprise. Which I don't know if we're gonna put at the beginning, but yeah, it's gonna be good. I'll put it up the screen. We just have a few more comments to go through. So this person, I don't know. I wish Kahuna was here because he probably would know who this person is. Louisa May Alcott is the queen of self-insertion characters. Her entire series of books were based on her family and her experiences, but it wasn't a fantasy where she makes Jo March, I guess the character who basically herself, this perfect heroine that doesn't make mistakes. I see no problem with self-inserting characters. So this might be an example. I don't know. This might be an example of where it's done right. I'm sure this is a popular series. And this is where I kind of want to highlight another comment, which I think kind of got it right. I think say this word, the
dichotomy.
Dichotomy? I can't fucking... I can't read, man.
Dichotomy.
Epitome. Dichotomy y'all are looking for is the difference between a self-insert and a self-insert Mary Sue. And I think that mostly nails on the point what I was kind of going for.
Yeah.
The only difference is I think Mary Sue kind of gets misused. Whereas it's like Mary Sue would be good at literally everything. But I think this sentiment is really what I was aiming for. Is like writing the character as the shit.
And I think that clears things up. You're making your point whenever we had this episode where you were saying that, and I kind of got what you're getting at, and I started picking out, like, is it just this one thing? And it might have been a difference of semantics and what have you, but that's kind of what I was getting at. And I understand why, if it's a quote-unquote Mary Sue, at least as far as they're saying, meaning perfection, that's annoying, versus a character that, if my experience was I was a helicopter pilot and I crashed my plane and I fought a bunch of guys and I had to fist fight a guy barehanded and I survived. And then I write a story about a guy that flies an airship and crash lands on another planet and has to survive. That's a self-insert in a way, but it's not necessarily that same style. And that's what I was trying to get at in that conversation. I probably didn't make my point as eloquently as I could have, but I think we're in agreement here.
Yeah, I know. Like I was like specific in saying that, like, well, unless it's a comedy, then I don't see where a self-insert could be not cringe. So it's like I'm gonna have to pick up one of these books to see if it's not cringe. Maybe it's just,
fair enough.
Maybe it's because I think fantasy, sci-fi, like action, thriller, like these hyper realized stories. They're not like just realistic dramas. Maybe that's like the difference where it's just like, if you got an action and you're self-inserting yourself, you're like, like high pace action. Like maybe maybe there's no way to not make that cringe,
Yeah.
And again, so this other comment, I'll just mention this real quick. Is it self-insert or self-referential? I don't know what he means by this.
It's self-insert, I think, is more like the Mary Sue, but self-referential, I believe, is more like you have these experiences and that's what you're calling upon for the story in a way. So it's not necessarily a one-to-one so much as a...
Yeah, and again, I agree. Like, referencing parts of your life, or, parts of your experiences. Obviously, like that, insert that, right? Just not like your whole self. And like, then this goes to the creator of Invader Zim did that with himself, and it was good. There's no way that the alien is a self-insert. Like,
no, that guy's an alien. It's true. He's a little green character.
What's his like little puppy?
The zipper. Yeah, that's that actual
zipper. Like there's no way that's a self-insert. Is part of himself in that character? Yeah, probably, most definitely, like 100%. But
right. I think that's just like I was saying. I think it's just a matter of different definitions of what exactly self-insert means, and not being on the exact same page to start, and that's when that devolves.
Yeah, I feel like they misunderstood our entire conversation right there. Whatever happens, we can never fully escape putting a bit of ourselves in our work. Absolutely, 100% agree. There's no avoiding it. It's what helps give originality to one's work. Yeah, I agree. But there are times where like it's like, and the thumbnail is the best example, where it's like you self-insert in just a. Yeah, the self-insert Mary Sue, like where you're basically just writing yourself as like the shit of the story, and it's like it's boring. I don't know. I'm not. Nothing's coming to my head right now because they tend to be shitty stories that don't get much attention. And then this last comment, this was just kind of funny. The guy trying desperately to start a dog whistle about woke was genuinely cringy, and his argument meant I think he meant to say argument doesn't
Argumentation,
hold up.
is that what he said? His argumentation doesn't hold up.
Maybe I'm the retarded one. That's very possible. I'm retarded. Especially when discussing classical literature and how self-inserts were a form of advocacy for a movement away from degrading social standards. Axe him, and you've got good dialogue going on. It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I had to rewatch the stream a handful of times to even
love
catch
that
it.
right there.
I was like, what is this comment about? And I thought for sure it was me. So I'm like watching myself. I'm like, what did I say? Is there something? And you mentioned one line that had some of that language. I was like, no, it seemed fine. And then nothing happened. I'm like, what is this guy talking about? And I had to go back a few times. I'm like, I'm trying to find it, and I just don't know where it was at. So I didn't hear the dog whistle, I guess.
Well, he's hearing the dog whistle. None of us are. I'm just, I had to rewatch because I was like, what is he talking about? What did I say in the beginning? And I knew I was the one talking in the beginning. And what I can only assume that he meant is when I mentioned, well, when people self-insert a character to kind of drive their own political agenda, he's making an assumption that I'm talking about only when people push the woke agenda, which it's like, yeah, that's probably the most prominent example of today. But I completely agree that conservative propaganda pushing is just as cringy. Like, get the fuck out of here, dude.
Right.
Fuck dog whistle. And you can tell it like offended him. He's trying to make a little snide remark like, axe him, and the rest of you guys are cool. Like, okay, dude.
Yeah, it's a bit harsh. Not like talk to him about reeling in or changing that dialogue. It's like, get rid of this guy. I was like,
he was so offended. He's so offended. Yeah. How could you talk ill of this? Tired of people saying woke. Like, I don't know, dude. I don't know what to tell you. I'm never going to try writing while listening to the show again. Holy hell, I did not get a lot done. Just going to stick to my schizophrenic ramblings, and I call my story notes. All right, man. That sounds like a good problem. That sounds like a positive note about our show. I appreciate it.
I guess we're not so wildly uninteresting that we just, or monotone that you can ignore us completely. It's hard, though. If you listen to any conversation that has your ear at all and are trying to write something, it's sort of like if you're writing an email and having a conversation, and you either end up saying what you're typing to this person or writing down what they're saying. It's like your brain can't do two things at once. So I get that.
Oh man, like honestly, moment here, right? It's just like I tune into like a lot of the shows and stuff, and it's like as a writer and our sphere are all we're all writers pretty much, right? And it's like yeah, do I listen to this 2-hour show to help my friend, support my friend, or do I get done what I really want to get done and write my story? And it's like it
is tough. Yeah, it's bothering because you have to do those things to like network and support other people and this and that, and it is tough to balance it all out.
Yeah, we need more of those fans that just don't do anything in their free time but watch videos.
Yeah,
which is good. Hey, man, I used to do that for years. There's nothing.
Me too. Yeah, it was a good time.
But yeah,
it's calm.
Yeah, 2 hours. That's a lot of time that you could be writing. Watch Bill just left. He's like, they're fucking right. Why aren't I writing?
He never comes back. He's like, boys, it's been fun. And then he's like, this is a super accomplished author in a few years.
Yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate everybody and their time. As always, I love the chat.
Thank you guys.
Like other channels around.
Yeah, no. No, you guys are fun to hang out with. Thanks for showing up.
Yeah. Evelyn, you got anything to mention before we hop off?
Nothing new or unusual. I am working on a new release that's music that I've done for other people. I don't know when it's coming out. I got to get the masters together and do all the. I got the art done for it, but I got to go through all the paperwork. For every song you do, you got to, like, there's all this legal crap that you got to, all these legal paperwork you got to do so that the song is protected and whatever. So I got to do that for every single song. And there's like 16 songs because most of them are only a couple minutes long at most. So I got to get all that in order. I'm working on some other stuff. Instead of doing what I was supposed to be doing, I started working on some other things of my own because I just had the itch. And I'm pretty happy with the results so far. So if you want to listen to my music, it's available all online on all streaming services. Just type in Evely like it's spelled on my name here. You can find I got 4 chiptune rock instrumental albums, one that has some vocals to it. You can follow me on Twitter and look forward to stuff in the future coming out for me.
Yeah. All right, man. Yeah, I got my book, Dawn Edge. It's available. I'm still waiting for Bad Faith reviews. Feel free if you want to make a Bad Faith review. I'm going to try to get a review out on my channel tomorrow. It's been too long since I uploaded like a straight up video. I did have my streams I scheduled for Wednesdays, and last week I was just like, dude, I'm fucking tired. I've been hopping on a lot of streams, like other people's streams, and I'm just like,
I was gonna say you're getting famous, man. You're making a lot of inroads, a lot of connections.
Yeah. But I'm kind of like, I'm like, fuck, dude, I'm tired.
Yeah.
So I'm like, do I need to do much? But it's fun. I do. I have some topics I want to talk about, as specifically what's going on. And it's just like I have to fucking do it, and it's spicier stuff, and I want to bring it to on this show.
Gotcha.
But again, hey guys, you need to share out because that pussy ass A.C Pritchard is saying that he's gonna beat me in subs like some fucking dweeb that cares about subs to 300. Help me beat him to 300, and we can show everyone how much of a pussy AC is. So let's go for it. And with that, hail the Iron Seas.
Oi.